We are back, and today we're close to the roster update. Appreciate all the support, every single one of y'all, man, helping out the channel. We're at almost 6,000 people in the Discord, and listen up closely. If you become a member, you'll have tons and tons of perks all year long. You'll have a spreadsheet, if you're a Dime member, that tells you the best investments all year long. Trust me, you don't want to miss out. Roster update Friday. Everyone's asking, who's going up? We already have videos breaking it down. I told you, yesterday was the final day of advice for the roster update, but listen, I do have a couple questions that people keep asking. How do I know who's going up in the game? So here we are today. We're breaking down what is the correlation between the in-game stats and the real-life stats. Basically, what indicates a good real-life stat from a pitcher, from a hitter, from everyone. So we're going to break that down. It's going to help all of you guys make more and more stubs and understand and enjoy your fantasy baseball making you stubs in MLB The Show 25. Here we go. Let's take a look at Mr. Nola. So we're gonna break down pitchers first. Again, Dime members have a whole 51 name pitcher spreadsheet right now with all the profit, all of the plus and minus for every stat. So it's good to look at. But Aaron Nola. So we have a guy right here where he's got a hit per nine of 71, Ks per nine of 60, walks per nine of 78. When I'm picking out a guy that I want to invest in, I always look at what's his lowest stat. Where do I think he can go up if he does something good? Right off the bat, his 60 Ks per nine is something that jumps out to me. I know if he strikes out guys in real life, that's going up. Okay, simple as that. What stats matter for a pitcher, a starter, a reliever, a closer? Stamina matters. Now, for relievers, a reliever and closer, they're typically going to be throwing 1 inning per game, so stamina, it's not as big of a deal. Now, for starters, if you're going 5 innings pitched, that's pretty much mediocre. However, when you already have a high starting stamina, 5 innings pitched, I mean, the threshold bumps up, and that's what we're going to talk about here. But for hits per nine, Ks per nine, and walks per nine, it's pretty simple. It's the amount of those that you're giving up or getting in real life. And then the final stat that matters is going to be pitching clutch, which isn't as obvious. Pitching clutch is when Aaron Nola's pitching and James Wood is on second base, anybody in scoring position. What are the batters' batting averages with guys in scoring position? Now, for pitching clutch, you want to have a pitcher that is giving up a batting average less than 250. 250 and above, it's not good. 250 and below, I mean, 250 is pretty much the mediocre line. That's what we're going to be looking at this video. Obviously, the lower you go, the better. The higher you go, the worse. Now, hits per nine, Ks per nine, walks per nine, this is going to be very helpful. I have a couple ratios that I always look at when investing. Hits per nine. I want to see a pitcher that's giving up less than 3 hits every 4 innings pitched. So pretty much, I look at the innings. Let's say that Aaron Nola has 40 innings pitched. I want to see that he's giving up less than 30 hits. That's pretty much the mediocre line. And 30 hits through 40 innings actually isn't that bad. Now, Ks per nine. Ks per nine is even easier. I want to see close or better than 1 strikeout per inning pitch. Now, that threshold can move a little bit depending on what the in-game K per nine is. For walks per nine, I am pretty picky about this one. I want to see less than 1 walk every 4 innings pitched. Now, some players, you can maybe look at 1 walk every 3 innings pitched. It kind of depends on what's going to move the needle depending on their in-game attribute, especially for closers that have 30 walks per nine, right? But I like seeing less than 1 walk every 4 innings pitched. Those are the kind of thresholds I look at with a guy like Aaron Nola. So if I was to actually pull up Aaron Nola's stats in real life right now, actually, let's jump to somebody else. Let's jump to somebody else who is somebody that I think could deserve a boost. I guess we'll go with Joe Ryan. Let's go with Joe Ryan because Joe Ryan's actually, he's been bouncing back. Joe Ryan's been pitching a little bit better as of recently. And he's priced as a +2 right now to 84, and he's projected as a +2 to 84. So Joe Ryan has 34 innings pitched on the season through 6 starts. That's a little bit less than 6 innings pitched per start. We have his stamina actually going slightly up as of right now, contributing into that overall change. Now, hits per nine. He's got a 73 hits per nine in the game. In 34 innings pitched, he's giving up 27 hits. So, do I really have to do the math? Let's do it. 27 divided by 34, that is 0.79, so it's a little bit more than that 3/4 mark, but that's still, again, that 3/4 mark is just what I like. We actually still have his hits per nine as slightly positive this update, just because his hits per nine is 73, that's pretty low. So, I mean, if you're giving up almost that 3/4 mark, it's pretty good for the 73 hits per nine, so it's slightly positive. Honestly, if I didn't have this pitcher spreadsheet, I would probably say it's even. Now, looking at the Ks per nine, which is where this is good, right? Ks per nine, he has 68 Ks per nine, it's his lowest stat, and it's the stat that you want to see the most movement in. This is where you look at his real life stats, and it's easy. He's got 34 innings pitched, you want to see, all right, 34 innings pitched, 34 strikeouts. For me, that's probably like a 75 K per nine. he has 39 strikeouts through 34 innings pitched. So he's exceeding that 1-to-1 ratio. So you obviously, it's a direct indication that that Ks per nine should increase. And we do have his Ks per nine projected to increase. Now, in terms of walks per nine, his walks per nine, he's given up only 4 walks in 33 innings. That's dominant. That is, instead of that 1-to-4 ratio, that's a 1-to-8 ratio. So the walks per nine, he already has a pretty high one at 84 walks per nine, but that also is looking positive in the right direction. So his stamina is looking maybe even, his hits per nine is looking maybe even, but his Ks per nine and his walks per nine are the big indicators that Joe Ryan should go up in those two categories. So that's how I like to break down starting pitchers. In terms of closers and relievers, you have a little bit more flexibility. Like if I go over to closers and I pull up Josh Hader, who Josh Hader's going up this update as well, there's a big reason. Why do I think Josh Hader's going up? It's pretty simple. Break down his stats. He's got 15 innings pitched, and he's given up 9 hits. Now, his hits per nine, honestly, could come down a little bit. 9 hits through 15, that pretty much is exactly, it's pretty close to that 3/4 mark. Now, it's a little bit below it, actually. It was at 2.6, right? So it's a little bit below that, so it's decent. But he already has such a high hits per nine that's a little bit risky. So I can't say his hits per nine is going up. In fact, it might be coming down. Ks per nine. 20 strikeouts through 15. He's exceeding the 1-to-1 ratio. That's pretty good. Ks per nine, it's already almost maxed out. Probably stays pretty similar. Walks per nine. Immediately, you look at one thing, the walks per nine. Don't expect a closer or a reliever to get a stamina change. So you look at the next best thing. Walks per nine is 44. If Josh Hader ain't walking players, he's going up. He's given up 3 walks, and this is, again, 1-to-4 ratio. For Josh Hader with a 44 walks per nine, the ratio could be 1-to-3. So he could have 3 walks in 9 innings, and he still could be going up. He has 3 walks in 15 innings. It's a 1-to-5 ratio. The walks per nine is due for a big increase, which is it's a direct indication Josh Hader's going up. Now we look at hitters. Hitters, it's pretty easy as well, man. Hitters, not too shabby. Take a look at hitters. There's only 4 things. Only 4 things, if you can believe it, that matter for a hitter. We got contact. Contact, direct correlation is batting average versus that side. So contact right, batting average versus righties. Contact left, batting average versus lefties. Power left, power left is home runs versus lefties, and power right is home runs versus righties. So really only 2 things matter for a hitter is home runs and batting average. Now, people always say, do they take into account OPS? Do they take into account slugging, hard hit baseball percentage, all that stuff? No, they don't. I'm telling you, they don't. They might look at it. Now, SDS does have the flexibility. They don't necessarily use a formula, right? But they also can manually make changes afterwards, looking at some of those other things depending on the guy. So keep that in the back of your head. Now, with the hitter, there's one more thing that does matter is his clutch stat, which is batting average with guys in scoring position. You want to see a batting average with guys in scoring position above 275, above 270. That's pretty much a good indicator of the clutch stat might be able to move up a little bit. Like for Wilson Contreras, right? He's trash. He's trash. We're going to pull up Josh Naylor. Josh Naylor is who we're going to pull up, and this is a tough one. It's a tough one because it's hard to predict if he's going to be going up in overall, but it's not hard to predict what stats are trending in the right direction. So looking at Josh Naylor, he has a 351 batting average versus righties. That is very high. His contact right is 69. I'd be saying that contact right definitely is in need of an upgrade. So his contact right is trending up. Contact left, he has 60 contact left. Also pretty decent. Like I would say if you have a 60 contact left, you're going to want to be batting at least like 240 to maintain that. And he's not. He's batting 233. So I'd say the contact left might be trending slightly down, if anything, maybe even. Power versus right, he's got 75 power versus right, which is pretty high. He has 4 home runs. It's honestly kind of low for this point in the season. It's not terrible. 4 home runs, we probably see him maintain that power right. 62 power left, he has 0 home runs versus lefties. Ouch, that hurts. Now, yes, he might have less at-bats versus lefties, but 0, it still is not looking good for his power left. We could see a reduction right there. So looking at just the left side of the board, his contact right due for a big upgrade, power left due for a downgrade, everything else pretty even. So it's basically which one's going to outweigh the other one, which is why it's kind of a toss-up as to how high of an overall he goes to. Looking at his clutch, he has 81 clutch, which is extremely high, but the good news is he's batting 297 with guys in scoring position, so he's batting 300 with guys in second and third. That's not bad. So his clutch probably gets maintained, but that's kind of a good breakdown of how I look at hitters in MLB The Show 25 for roster update investing. So we talked about pitchers, we talked about hitters, and that's really it, man. There's a little bit more stuff that goes into it. And, you got to actually, the third thing you have to link in, right? We already have the in-game stat. We already have the real-life stat. The third thing you need to think about is what have they been in the past and overall talent in real life, and then also price in-game. So that's kind of the third aspect you have to target and think about when investing. There it is. Really hope this helped you out, man. Again, let's make tons of stubs on Friday with the roster update. Peace.